when we talk of opting for the data, or when we talk of looking for the data, how these datas are, different, and looking to the opinions and acceptabilities of all these opinions as a whole. So what we can do is we can have a very interactive session with us, and if we have any questions in between, we can have a question fair sessions also, or if you want that there should be some input to be required in this, or if you feel that there is some derailment of topic, right, and that should be added on as a value addition, so this can also be done. So everything is there, so kindly don't hesitate to come forward for such things. And this can be more proud from both of us, that when the sessions can be very interactive in terms of what we understand and what we look forward for. Now, first of all, when we say how to prepare a questionnaire, a step-by-step guide, what actually we mean by the questionnaire? So anyone? What is questionnaire?
It is a set of items.
Okay, okay. Anyone who can add on it? Or if you feel that I should name the people, then that can also be done. So better not to, let me intervene into naming the people. So it's better if you can come up with your own ways of throwing the balls, or else I'm going to, Biswajit Guha.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Actually, I am not audible. Can you repeat?
What do you mean by questionnaire? What is questionnaire?
Yes, sir. For me, questionnaire is a set of items for
Yeah.
collecting the data, sir.
Okay. So you said a set of items
Yes, sir.
collecting a data. So I have said what is questionnaire. You have added one more thing, data. What is data here? Now see, when
Date.
when we use the word questionnaire, let me define first. Then we can have very bifurcation and trifurcation of these words. When I'm using the word questionnaire, it is simply a tool. Let us be very clear that this is a tool. And what this tool does, these tools is meant for collecting and recording information. Now see, I have used the word information. The previous speaker, Mr. Viswajit, he says data. So there are two new words which is added to the questionnaire. Now, data and information both are there. So we'll keep this set aside. Now, what that generally this does. So this is particularly it, data and information. What they does is they are about a particular issue of interest. For example, if I say that I want to make a overall research on my 22 participants who are online representations, and I want to give a significant contribution, that is it all the people, those who are involved in this workshop, are they physically and mentally present in this workshop or not? So this is my first set of questions. So first thing is that how many numbers of people are involved in this. So this question comes, the answer is 22. So for me, 22 is the data. Still, I'm not clear about that. What these 22 people, those 22 people is, for me, 22 people are the universe here. Right. Now, my question is, I want to know this, that out of the universe, how many people they're physically and mentally truly present in this workshop? So 22 is the data for me. Now, I'm going further, and when I'm throwing questions to, let us say, Simran, let us say uh, Dinesh, or let us say any other people, so I'm trying to contribute some informations to the data. So as I said, that questionnaire is a tool, and basic purpose of the questionnaire is that it's generally made up of a list of questions. Now generally we say questions or items. So we'll interpret that in the questionnaire we have items. Now we need to understand that what is questionnaire and what is items. Item is a very individualistic platform of getting an information very thoroughly, and these items should be very clear with a very specific instructions and space for answering or administrative details. Meaning hereby that questionnaires are the sets of items. Now, generally, what we do is when we start making a questionnaire, we need to understand two things. The, these two things are the contributory factors of getting a details from the people. What we use the word is called respondent. Now, what questionnaire does and what schedule does? Questionnaire is a set of items, and let us say if I have five hypotheses with me. So what I'll do, I have a sets of items in a different allocations to all the five hypotheses, which I'll be discussing in the further platform. But you just understand on this particular sense is that questionnaire are the set of items which is sent to the respondent, whereas schedule is again a set of items. But how it is different from questionnaire, that in schedule we sit across with the respondent and fill the questionnaire, whereas in questionnaire it is not necessary. Now, second thing, I'm trying to unlock the insights or the power of the questionnaire. How we can unlock is, and that is the reason we say questionnaire should always have a definite purpose that is related to. Now, you all know that every research has an objective. Yes, no? Hello? Yes, no? I'm not getting any answer from any people. Mr. Henry Yogi?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, kindly, because I keep on asking certain things to you, so don't make it in this way that you switch off it or move here and there. So if you're not responding, I'll ensure it that you people get, because here the purpose is that we should have an interactive session, not one-way session. So I said in every research, there is an objective of the research. And it needs to be very clear from the outset how the findings will be used. Now, as I said, the respondents are also need to be made aware of the purpose of the research wherever it is possible, and should be told how and when they will receive feedback on the findings. So as a matter of fact, if you say that what is questionnaire, the very clear terms talks about that the questionnaire as heard of a survey is based on set of questions to gather data from the respondents. So as Biswajit talks about data, and I have added one more thing, information. So these questions are translated from of what researchers needs for their study, or in another way, which can be addressed using the answers of the respondent. So as a matter of fact, if you can define more professionally, then we say that a questionnaire as the main and the most dominant way of collecting primary and, I'll repeat, primary and quantitative data. I'm not talking about the qualitative data. Here I'm more emphasizing on the quantitative data, which makes the process of data collection. And what this data collection does, it standardizes the two things. One is together with comparable issues. You need to compare it. So what Chronisk and Malhotra of 2006, 22006, 2006, and I remember Kronisk, he mentioned in 2018, quote, that it can ensure a faster and more accurate data collections process. And what they do is questionnaire, it facilitates the data processings as well. So I'm quoting two people, Malhotra of 2006 and Krosnick of 2018. So what we are going to unlock on the sides of the questionnaire. So the unlocking parameter, that it is one of the most common way of conducting survey in different fields of the study. And what are the fields here? The fields can be academic research, can be organizational parameters, can be public institutions, or can be individual institution, individual people, those who are looking forward for. So in a very simple way, it may seem a simple process initially, but the responses can be very different or even unpredictable to cause many challenges in the procedure. And this is the reason that the appropriate design of the questionnaire can affect both quality and quantity of the gathering of data. And these quality and quantity, what they do is they results for the survey, for the poor designed questionnaire, for the motivated, beautifully added items, and above all for the accurate and adequate possibilities of answering from the questionnaire parameters vis-a-vis from the respondents. To make it more clear, to make it more attributed, what is more concerned and what is more opened, that on the one hand you're talking about the questionnaire, on the other hand you are looking forward for looking to certain importance of the questionnaire. Now anyone from the participants, if hypothetically we can understand that any research which you are supposed to do from the questionnaire can be diminished or can be diminified or can be, you can say, hindered if questionnaires are not there, then what will happen to the research? Anyone? Sangama?
Sir, sir, experience of the respondent cannot be recorded.
So what?
Only the theoretical part will be there.
No, I am saying that suppose you are not using the questionnaire. Let us say
Yeah.
that now I am making a research on the
Hmm.
female cognitive dissonance part on purchase of a TV,
Hmm.
and I'm now asking a question to Renu Yadav, that what if you are going to purchase a television, and if you are going to give an option of purchasing a television, especially of the Kurg TV of the Samsung. So
Hmm.
I'm not going to give you a set of questionnaires to you, but I'm just throwing some words. It's a totally a verbal attitude or verbal parameters that is going to give a lodging up of these situations. So do you find
Yes.
any differences that if questionnaire is there, will be happen, and if verbal?
When we have a questionnaire, the questionnaires are structured, each and every parameter will be considered.
Okay.
But when we are throwing a verbally question, it's just saying yes or no, but without any sub points explaining why yes or no.
Okay. So participants, learner participants, now as Mr. Biswajit talks about the data, Renu has said one more word, and that word is structured questionnaire. Right. So let us understand before we look forward for this word structured questionnaire and unstructured questionnaire. My very simple question is that why we choose questionnaire? Is it because of efficiency? Is it because of standardization? Is it because of anonymity? But I'll speak in a different way. We use questionnaire, number one, when we say efficiency. So efficiency talks about large audience affordability. Efficiency talks about the biggest contribution in terms of significance of time and resources. Efficiency talks about the very clear cut differences between effectiveness and efficient. Efficiency talks about looking to the more concrete and confined situation, as I say, to collect baseline information which can then be tracked over time to examine changes. Now, standardization and anonymity. So, this standardization and anonymity talks about looking to the forward respondent answers that is being given logically for the same set of questions. Number one. Number two, I talked of anonymity, which very clearly talks of that many respondents are more likely to provide a very honest responses when they know their identities are protected. Now, see, I'll give you a very simple example, and I'll try to relate my examples with my own experiences. I was in Cape Town University, and we were doing a research, and one of my colleague, he was from German. So we both were writing a paper, and we thought of that we'll go for making a contributory effects of items from the respondents. So what I saw was that my German contemporary person, he said, Dr. Singh, can we go to some book shop? I said, why? I said, I need to purchase something. And he purchased roughly 50, fountain pens. So I was in impression that he must be purchasing for some other reasons because I wasn't knowing it. And then we both sat and we started moving to that particular sample area where we wanted to collect a sample. And our sample area was an institutional area, which was we were trying to contact the quality people, the quality managers, and we went to that particular area, which was industrial institutional area. And then when we approached to the first company and we were asking certain questions to that particular executive, we roughly talked to that particular executive for about 7 to 8 minutes. And the moment we completed that question sessions, my German contemporary, he opened his bag and in a very simple and gesture way, he said, so thank you very much for giving a very valuable time. And he kept one pen on his table. This was a very mind-blowing exercise for me. In fact, we both were doing a research. And I've never thought of that this can also be there. In India, at least, we never thought of. One pen, fountain pen, was costing around $1.43, right? So he purchased 50 pens, and on the single day, we went roughly to 9 to 10 people. And the very strange part was that out of 9 to 10 people, some of them have refused to take that pen. Anyone can guess why they must have refused? I think 2 or 3 people have refused to take that pen as a gesture. So anyone out of this learned hearers who is, I mean, hearing my pitch, anyone can guess why they have refused that they are not going to have this pen?
Because the anonymity feature.
Pardon? Pardon? What you said,
Sir.
Renu?
Yes, because the identity was not like identity. Their identity was disclosed. Everyone was aware of who is answering kind to whom.
No, 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 no. Because you see, when let us take example that when I come to you and I say, Renu, this is the questionnaire, and this you need to fill it this, and you started filling it, and it is not the times I was sitting in front of you, and then when you filled it up after 8 to 9 minutes, you said, sir, I filled it. Now this is the questionnaire, and the moment you gave the questionnaire to me, I handed it to pen to you, and then you refused it. And some of them have taken, but some of them have refused it. You know, the very strange part of this was that some of the people, they refused to take that pen, not because they don't want to have it, because the research which we were conducting was a contribution to the economy of South Africa. So I was very much, you know, felt pleased to hear one answer from a lady when she said, excuse me, sir, I am not going to have this pen, because you both people are from different country, and you are doing a research in South Africa on our own country. So it is not possible for us to take or accept a pen from you people. Now, this things has made blunted me that, see how much the people are aware about their nationalities, how much the people are aware about their patriotism, how much the people are aware about who is being influenced, and how much the people are aware about that what we have do's and don't do's when we are going to talk with the people. It is as simple as when you go to any country and you become very cautious of your personality, your habits, your communication, the way you process with the letters, the way you handle with your mobile phone, the way you handle with talking to the people, the way you handle with the communication of, you know, what do you say, oral communication and physical communication. It is as simple as this, what we are talking about. So, the second thing which comes to our mind is, which I must say to you people, is that whenever you come with making of listing of a questionnaire, always remember that you are trying to you're going to steal a time of that person. And please remember one thing: when you're stealing a time of the person who is contemporary to you, or who is giving, or who is a source of data for you, or in another way, who is providing information to you, it should not be free. At least I'm 100% sure that wherever you take a time of the people, you need to oblige them. This is not that I'm saying that this is a bribe. No, it's not a bribe, but it is something like that: I have stolen a time, I have taken your time, you have provided me the information, let us have a dinner, or let us, this is a very small gesture I can make for you. And 30 to 35% people, they will refuse, but at least they feel very proud. And I'm 100% sure if these things comes to them, you will very definitely try to understand the choosing part of the questionnaire in terms of effectiveness, in terms of standardization, or in terms of anonymity, or in terms of what we are going to handle and require the basic situation of any questionnaire which we do it. So this is the second part which we understand and look forward for. Third thing, which is more clear to us and more giving emphasis on the situation, is that one of you said that questionnaires can be of different types. Now, when I'm using the word types of the questionnaire, It means I am talking about the open-ended questionnaire. It means I'm talking about the closed-ended questionnaire. It means I'm talking about the mixed method questionnaire. It means I'm talking about the various purposes that look forward for the proceedings and acceptabilities of the questionnaire. Now, as a matter of fact, what we can see and what we can understand is, as a whole, that there are two common applicable types of questionnaires which are very in different ways. They make a combination of these two types. These types are known as structured questionnaire and unstructured questionnaire. And the other one, which I said, is a combination, which is called a mixed, which is a recognition, or which is a recognition as a matter of fact, we say the quasi structured questionnaire. Now, in the first one, structured one, a specified and clear pattern is employed using the sequence questions. I'll repeat two words: specified and a clear pattern. I request anyone, some one of the participants, you can mute your mic. Amarjit Dangra, your mic is need to be muted. Yeah, thank you. Now, as I said, that in the first one, we have a very clear talk of specifications, and I said specific and clear pattern. And this specific and clear pattern is employed in the sequence question, which is called structured question. Number 2 point to be very clear on the structured questionnaire is that they are pre-coded and are used in the majority of data collection process. Now, what is pre-coding here? Anyone from the participant? Mr. Dinesh? What is pre-coding here? Mr. Dinesh? No one. Anyone from the participants? What is pre-coding? What is coding and pre-coding?
So maybe on certain basis, if we group certain questions in one category,
So why we need to
that
go?
is,
Why we need to go for coding here?
so because it can't be possible to analyze the question with the different items. If we
Okay.
are talking about efficiency, all the items of that particular scale should relate it to efficiency only. We cannot incorporate
No, but
the price.
Renu, what is the need of coding here? Why we code the items? Why we
Uh,
code the items? Is it for us we code, or it is for the respondents we code? Why we code the item?
so we code the item so that we can analyze the data which we receive.
It means you're talking about yourself, that you code because of yourself. Is it?
So it's actually it's for both the sides, because otherwise the respondent will not be able, if the questionnaire is not coded, it will be tough for the respondent to fill the things.
No, why? It's as simple as it is. We will understand in the coming presentations that we'll go for whether 3-point Likert scale, 5-point Likert scale, 7-point Likert scale. It's different. But why we need for the, if suppose if you're taking two hypotheses, so why we need to go jungle? Why we need to mix those things items? We don't keep separate items for different hypotheses, right? So it is
So
basically anyone
as per
other than Renu, any participants would like to focus on this? Mr. Yogi? No, this I think these guys are just
No idea, sir.
no idea. Yeah, okay. You see, let us be very clear. At least if you hearing, you can say this. Please go ahead with this because it's look very unsound, very impractical that when I ask certain questions to you and you people are keeping mum. So this shows that either you have moved just making your screen on, because this entire effort is for you people only. So see, why we code is of a two version. We code the questionnaires not because of the researcher's point of view. We also code the items, understanding, making and understanding parameters for the respondents also. Because when you start filling the questionnaire, you are on a mode of action. Like for example, you might have seen that when you are being called upon for filling the questionnaire, and that too, there are two ways of filling the questionnaire. One is that you become very serious of filling the questionnaires, every line you read it, and then you go for the option. Second is you just pass away the questionnaire to your brother saying that yes, मेरे से कोई भी भर लेना यार. And next day when your friend comes, you just pass on this questionnaire to him. So he is thinking that because I have given questionnaire to you, so you must have failed it. But actually the story is different. That I have passed on the questionnaire to my sister or my brother or anyone, my friend, that भाई मेरे पास टाइम नहीं है, ये तो भर देना और मैं उनको दे दूंगा. No, so when we code it, we generally know from the flow of answering the questions that how serious the respondent is. This is the basic parameters to look forward for. Is it clear? Am I clear, Renu? Hope you're clear with
Yes, sir.
code. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So generally, what we do is that they, after pre-coding is being done, they possess many merits of what they easy to administer and what they encompasses for fewer discrepancies. So this was about the questionnaire of structured one. On the other hand, when we talk about the unstructured questionnaire or unstructured type, use open-ended questions as well as opinion types, right? Number one. Now these types are more applicable in focus group interviews. I'll repeat, focus group interviews, right? Focus group interview is where you are already ensuring it that this is where I can be answered, or this is where my causes of reactions can be intervened. Now there are vast possibilities for the answers, and all of them cannot be easily pre-coded. This is the basic thing of structured and unstructured questionnaire one. Now point here is that why these structured, unstructured and mixed questionnaires are used. So first thing, we use the questionnaire to have a factual information, number one. Number two, we gather straightforward information relating to people's behavior. Number three, we try to understand the basic attitude or opinions of the group of the people relating to a particular issue. Next is that why we explore the questions types, because we want to measure the satisfaction of the customers with the product or services. And last but not least, we collect baseline information which can then be tracked over time to examine changes. Now, this is something where you look where we confirm and where we create the part of these things. Now, again, parallel to this, we can have some questions that why questionnaires should not be used. As I have referred, that questionnaires should not be used. Is it only because, and the answer comes to our mind is that questionnaires should not be used when to explore complex issues in a great depth concern, to explore new, difficult or potential controversial issues. Now, how we can relate it? The very basic reason is that we cannot go for the longer We cannot go for the relatively unstructured depth interview. And above all, we can also understand an easy option which will require a little time or effort for a common error. Now, this is something where we look and see to the basic assumptions and realities of what actually is happening to this. Now, here I would like to give certain examples, and I think you can understand with this. You know, there is one company called Baskin Robbins. Anyone? What this company is into?
Ice cream,
Very good.
sir.
Very good. You know what happened? During the COVID time, there was one lady who was staying in Argentina, and these they people have just before COVID they have come to USA. Her name was Angelina, and she was staying in California, and her parents were staying in a remote of New Jersey, and it was a time of a COVID when there was one single tweet from Angelina that anyone can help my parents with certain provision packages. They're staying there and no one is going to help them. And this Baskin Robbins people who were happened to sell this ice creams, they were sitting alone because at that particular time, if you remember in COVID, no one was coming out. Obviously, the sale of the Baskin Robbins was getting down. So few people they saw that tweet, and some of the Baskin Robbins salespeople who were looking at the counter, they said, why not to help these old people? Because that particular area was very approachable from that Baskin Robbins shop. So two salespeople, they purchased the product, what she was tweeted, and they went to the parents' home and they have delivered it. And the message went from the parents to the Angelina that some two people they came with the package of provision shops, provision stores, and she, you know what did she did? She tweeted that I'm very much pleasured and very much felt great that on my tweet, people from Baskin Robbins they took certain products and they went to my needy parents. How still I believe that humanity is lies. And you know, this tweet started getting viral during the COVID. And if you remember at that particular time, the president of America was Barack Obama. He was in the Oval White House, and he also some of his friends they have sent the tweet to them. And then Barack Obama, you know what he did? He tweeted, retweeting that Angelina's tweet, that this is what America is. And you won't believe Barack Obama in person drove the car and went to that particular shop and he took selfie along with those people and posted to the Twitter, and then rest is the story. This is a story of Baskin Robbins, which they have now. Why I'm giving the example is, and how this is related with the questionnaire is that sometime you're talking of structured questionnaire, sometime you're talking of unstructured questionnaire, sometime you're talking of mixed questionnaire. The purpose is to get the data, the purpose is to get the information. And sometimes you get the information, and sometimes this information automatically raises the part and the depthness of what you truly want to have it. That is the point which you relate, and that is the point which you get upon to the structured and unstructured way of looking at. Now, going further, that how and to what extent we can craft the effective questionnaire. how we can craft the questionnaire. Now again, question is when I'm saying crafting of the questionnaire questions, or when I'm saying crafting of the items, it means, let us start with that what actually I want to talk about. So basically I'm talking about that how the questionnaires can be designed. So when you're talking of looking to the designing part of the questionnaire, the designing part of the questionnaire is in order to gather useful and relevant information. It is essentially that carefully consideration is given to the design of the questionnaire. And I'll repeat, a well designed questionnaire requires a very thorough effort, a very planned and developed stages of the efforts that you're looking to it. Now, what are the stages here? Initial considerations, what we require. What is my initial considerations? How I can going to move? And when I'm saying initial considerations, it means I'm trying to justify that it is important to be clear about the type and nature of the information you need to collect. In another way, I'm saying who is my target population. And when I'm saying target population, it means I'm trying to justify that what is an appropriate method for administrating the questionnaire. Is it a postal? Is it direct? Or are you going to consider your approach in terms of sampling? Or are you looking for sampling technique in terms of finalizing that how the findings will be analyzed, as they may have an impact on the designing of the questionnaire? It means I am talking of more considerations on analyzing and reporting of the quantitative data. The second part after initial consideration is how questions or how items contents is going to be phrased, and how we can get a response from the format. So here we have three things to us. One is what is when we are going to add value. Number two, after adding value, how and to what way it is clear and easy. And number three, what to ask about thinking that it is not going to create a cause of confusion. This is something where I can talk and look forward for. And here, if you look to a very drastic approach or to a very clear cut approach, we say if it is look, then only it will be hook. Meaning hereby that you can only create and analyze and understand the basic imagination of a communication. And when I'm using the word imagination of a communication, it means which touches the customer's aspiration. And what is the respondent's aspirations, and how this respondent aspirations are going to get from the imagination of the communication. And here we create a moat, M-O-A-T. We use the word moat here. It is very commonly being used in a, we say sometimes we use the word called business moat. And this business moat is nothing but it is more of giving a question sequence and layout. आपने देखा होगा पुराने जमाने में किला हुआ करते थे और किले के चारों तरफ गड्ढा खोद देते थे। वो क्यों गड्ढा खोदते थे?
उसमें सर पानी भर के
Very
क्रोकोडाइल
छोड़
स्टैंड
देते थे। क्यों छोड़ते? वो क्यों छोड़ते थे? वो क्यों छोड़ते थे?
ताकि कोई भी उनको अगर अटैक करे
हाँ,
उन पे
है ना?
वो
तो
प्रोटेक्ट
वो
कर सके।
अटैक का पहला सर्कल था वो, ठीक है? वो अपने कैनन्स हैं, अपने बाढ़ थे, अपने तोप थे, अपने सोल्जर्स थे, उनमें से वो फिल्टर करते थे। वैसे ही यहाँ पे क्वेश्चनर्स भी फिल्टर करता है, हम इसको बिजनेस मोड बोलते हैं। ये बिजनेस मोड क्या करता है, ये क्वेश्चंस के सीक्वेंस और लेआउट को फिल्टर करता है। ये थर्ड पॉइंट है। एंड व्हाट इज क्वेश्चंस, लेआउट एंड व्हाट इज सीक्वेंस? These questions should be numbered and ordered in a way what is logical to the respondent. Number one. जैसे some questions require routing. जैसे some questions require careful not to make this too complex. इसका मतलब यह हुआ कि आपको जो लेआउट फॉर्मेशन है और जो सीक्वेंसिंग फॉर्मेशन है आइटम्स का, वो बहुत क्राफ्टली हैंडल्ड होना चाहिए। क्राफ्टली हैंडल इसलिए होना चाहिए क्योंकि जो आपका प्रोसेस ऑफ क्वेश्चनर डिजाइनिंग है, उसका जो फ्लो स्ट्रक्चर है, इट स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम इंफॉर्मेशन नीड्स, प्रोसेस टू द सर्वे टाइप, reactive with the type of questions, making a formation of writing questions. You are jumbling the questions items, you are pre-testing the items, and then ultimately you are making a finalization of the questionnaire. Meaning hereby, I'll give example here, that what information is required if you're making a questionnaire. Certain thing comes to your mind is that what information you are going to require to make an item. Now there are both different research questions and hypotheses that need to be addressed as the aim of the research. And when I'm using the aim of the research, it means I'm talking about the hypothesis developed on the basis of the reasons or solutions of the problem using different assumptions. Like for example, you can come up with certain assembled examples. Suppose I'm taking an example of information from the hypothesis, and my hypothesis is, do customers care about the quality of services more than prices? This is my hypothesis. I'm talking about the example in terms of types of hypothesis. Now, what I'm going to have from this example, what information I'm going to have is that customers' perception of the quality of the services and purchase and prices are very much required. And out of this hypothesis, we make a research question. And the research question talks about what do the customers care about. Now, out of the research question, we get the information, and this information talks about the relative importance of goods and services. Meaning hereby that these subjects which we are talking, they include the research question and hypothesis and the nature of the study, which is fundamentally helps you to recognize and make what information is needed to collect the data from the survey. Now, certain more things which is very much required and very much need to be understood from the point of opinion, from crafting or from looking forward for looking to more considerations and more logics, that what and to what sense we go for the structure and flow parameters. And when I'm saying structured and flow parameters, it means I'm talking about the clarity. It means I'm talking about avoiding biasness. It means I'm talking about looking forward for single focus. And it meant I'm talking about The well structured questionnaire, which is essentially for collecting reliable and meaningful data. And as a matter of fact, a logical and clear flow enhances respondent engagement and improve complete rates. Now, this improvement of completion of rates talks about that in any research questions with a clear and logical structure, 15% of the higher completion rate is accomplished when you are clear, when you are avoiding bias, and when your single focused agenda structured is made. Meaning hereby that we can discuss the components of an effective questionnaire structure in terms of introduction, logical order, instructions, demographic, and closing messages. Now, if we talk about introduction, as you can see to a slide, we are looking to the critical part of any questionnaire, which is sets to stage of the respondents, and it should include a brief explanation of the purposes of the questionnaire. And when I'm using the purposes of the questionnaire, it means I'm trying to assure the confidentiality in terms of building a trust, in terms of looking forward for logical order. Like if I say an effective introduction might says, thank you for taking the time to complete this survey. Your response will help us improve our service, and this service will take approximately 5 minutes, and all the answers will remain confidential. This is what cream uh, layer of a pie you are giving to the respondent. And when I say logical order, it means I am going to provide the general experience with the company, product or services, instructions, and then I go for two examples. One example talks about the multiple choice questions, which we can rank onto the 5-point Likert scale, or which we can rank from 3-point Likert scale, which we can rank from 7-point Likert scale. I'll answer it that how to go for these Likert scales and what is the basic distinction we can come up with 3, 5, and 7 Likert scale. And the third point talks about the demographic variance. And demographic variance talks more on the age, gender, local experience, and what we use generally we give to ensure we receive diverse feedback. Please answer the following demographic questions. You respond will be remain confidential, and then you write a thanking you message. It means we are more clear to understand certain apprehensions, and these apprehensions talks more on the part and the procedure we are looking to have in terms of more questioning parameters. Now we say understanding measurement levels, and we have 4 different levels on which our formation is relied upon. So as a matter of fact, we say that there are 4 different scales of measurement in terms of the questionnaire, and these data can be defined as being one of the 4 scale. And what are the scales here? Nominal, ordinal scale, interval scale, and ratio scale. Nominal scales talks about one level of measurement scale in which The number serves as a tag or labels to classify or identify the object. Examples can be that when you say nominal scale, we are more clear and we are more conscious about what is your gender, male, female. So here the variables are used as a tags, and the answers to this question should be either M or F. Am I clear till now, participants?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now come to the ordinal scale. In the ordinal scale, we go for the two level of measurements that reports the ordering and ranking of data without establishing the degree of variations between them. I'll repeat. There should not be any discrimination in terms of degree. Because in ordinals represents the order. Ordinal has come from the word called order. And ordinal data is known as qualitative data or categorical data, and it can be grouped, named, and also ranked. Now, what are the characteristics? The characteristics of the ordinal data is that they have interval properties not known. The server can quickly analyze the degree. The ordinal scales always shows the relative ranking of the variables. You can understand this from the example. Like for example, ranking of school students, first, second, third, who has come in the class. Or let us say that what is the rank of Delhi restaurants? Which restaurant is best? Or I can use that how often you frequent the restaurant, how you evaluate the frequency of occurrence in terms of very often, often, not often, or not at all. Or sometimes you also assess or also you order the scale in terms of a degree of agreement. Like for example, if I give a item, that how many of us believe in giving the sequence parameters of pedagogy in the class without examples and with examples. So if I want to teach a hypothesis, is it the introductory part will do, or is it the theoretical part will complete the assurance of understanding of the students, or you need to have certain examples also along with the theoretical parts? So the question comes that it is nothing but we are trying to assess the degree of the agreement. And how we can assess the degree of the agreement? We can assess the degree of the agreement only by saying totally agreed, sir. I'm totally agreed that example should be given when we are going for the pedagogy of teaching. Some of will say no, I'm not totally agreed, but I'm agreed with examples, but examples are parallelly it should move with the contents of the theoretical issues. Some of the teachers will say no, it is neutral. I'm neutral to it. I don't say agreed and totally agreed. Some of the participants will say no, I'm disagreed to the examples. And some of the participants will say no, I'm totally disagreed to the examples. So this is a example of ordinal scale. Now come to the interval scale. The interval scale is the third level of measurement scale. And this third level of measurement scale talks more on the quantitative measurement scale, in which the difference between, I'll repeat, difference between two variables is meaningful. In other words, the variables are measured in an exact manner. I'll repeat, not as in a relative way in which the presence of zero is arbitrary. In an exact manner. So obviously, if you look onto the characteristics of interval scale, you'll find that it allows calculating the means and medians of the variables. It allows the quantitative and qualitative differences values between the value of the variables. To understand the difference between variables, you can subtract the value between the variables. And here, the examples of interval scales are Likert scale, or sometimes we use net promoter score, NPS, or sometimes we also use a table called bipolar matrix table. And the fourth part of measuring the level is the ratio scale. Generally, we say, what is your weight in kg? And then you say less than 55 kg, 55 to 75 kg. Then you give an option 76 to 85 kg, 86 to 95 kg, and more than 95 kgs. Because the ratio scale has a feature of absolute zero, number one. This is a characteristic. And it does not have a negative number, because all its 0 points features in that scale. And another best characteristics of ratio scale is that they have a unique and useful properties. And one such feature is that it allows unit conversion into kilometer, calories, grams, to calories, etc. So this is the best thing you can look forward and see to how and to what sense we are talking of this basic version of understanding the ratio, or understanding the worth of scales and the parameters of looking forward for these scales. Now question comes again, that after all these things, after looking to all these parameters, after looking to all these categories or sense, what is the choosing delivery methods, which you can see on the slide, that when we use choosing some parameters of delivery method, whether it should be online, paper based, or through telephone, right? You might have seen through Google also, we make certain questionnaires in the Google G form and send to all the people, and we send to offline mode. Basically, we are selecting the right questionnaire delivery method, which is very crucial for ensuring the data quality. And when I'm using this data quality, it means I'm talking of some more realities. Like, for example, you see, if you look to a Cold War between Tata and Reliance in terms of, Pritam Menger restaurant of Reliance versus Tata's Starbucks. If you look onto the apps of fighting Cold War between apps of Reliance Neo, Geo app of Reliance versus Tata Neo. If you look on to the retail sector Cold War between Big Basket of Tata to Geo Mart of Reliance. If you look to the digital retail formations of Tata of Chroma versus Reliance Digital of Reliance. If you look to the pharmacy Cold War between Tata 1mg versus NetMeds of Reliance. If you look to the bullion market of Tanishq of Tata versus Reliance Jewels of Reliance, right? If you look to the online premium clothes of Tata Click versus Ajio or Giama of Reliance, what is more important, that how, to what sense we can have a mode of delivery of customers, and how and to what sense we can relate with the particular parameters and views of the customer's orientations. And here we can see that in this particular way, through online, through paper mode, through telephone, we understand the look and the functionalities of these items. And these functionalities can only relate to the presence of conformity, presence of solution based conformity in terms of how we can look and understand the validity and reliability of any propositions of the questionnaire. Now, here, when I'm saying validity and reliability, it means I'm talking more concerned and more functional to the designing part. Because when I'm saying validity and reliability, it means I'm trying to make you very clear about the designing of a questionnaire, and it is essential to ensure that its products accurate and consistent results can only signify the achievements by focusing the validity and reliability of the parameters. As a matter of fact, validity determines whether a questionnaire measures what it is intended to measure. Is it clear? Till now, am I clear, participants?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So when you said validity, it means we are focusing on the determinants which is ensuring us to intend to measure. And when I'm saying reliability, it means I'm trying to access the consistency and stability of the responses over a time. I'll repeat. When I'm saying validity, it means I am trying to ensure the questionnaire measurement in terms of what is the intent to measure. And when I'm saying reliability, it means I'm trying to give a focusing point in terms of consistency and stability of the responses. Now, you say validity and reliability, it means we are trying to refer to the extent to which a questionnaire accurately measures the intended concept. So, if a questionnaire lacks validity, the result may mislead to irrelevant, lead to irrelevant. And that is the reason that we say that there are three key types of validity, which will be seen one by one. The very first validity is a content validity. And content validity, as the word says, content, C-O-N-T-E-N-T, content validity, it means we are ensuring that the questionnaire covers all the relevant aspect of the topic which is being studied. Right? If you say a well-designed questionnaire, then we say a well-designed questionnaire should include a comprehensive set of questions. And when I'm using or when I'm emphasizing set of questions, it means I am saying fully representations or fully representative of the subject matters content that is tabled by the researcher. We can use some more words for content validity, that this is often assessed by the experts. Please remember this. In the field of who reviews the questionnaire for completeness and relevance. The second part is called criterion validity. And criterion validity involves comparing the questionnaire results to the other established measure of the same concept, criteria. And this is particularly psychological and social science researchers are normally important, where they use it in terms of assessing through statistical technique. And in the criterion validity, generally statistical techniques like factor analysis are being used, which examines whether the questionnaire items align with the expected theoretical constructs or not. Number two. The third point, which is very much important, is the construct validity. And in the construct validity, we try to relate, as I said, in criterion validity, sorry, the correlation questionnaires is the benchmark, and in the construct validity, we refer to the factor analysis, right? Now, when we say criterion validity, correlation comes to our mind. When we take construct validity, statistical techniques like factor analysis comes to our mind. But how about measuring the reliability pattern? How about looking to the way and the constructs of reliability? How about looking to the ensuring parts of reliability? How this reliability matters in terms of concrete database? And then we say reliability, as I said, it refers to the consistency and stability of the questionnaires results. And this reliability is varied from test retest reliability, internal consistency reliability, and inter-rater reliability. Retest reliability talks about the more result oriented, like this method is particularly used for measuring the stable traits and attitude. But when I'm saying internal consistency reliability, it means I'm trying to justify the Cronbach alphas, which calculates how closely relates the items in a scale area. For example, if you're very clear that a high Cronbach alpha value, you know, what is a high Cronbach alpha value? Normally we predict, researchers or any participants. What is a
So
prediction?
0.70,
0.7. Very, very nice. No, 0.7, right? So
0.7,
yeah,
yes.
0.7 is to be treated as a very high Cronbach alpha value, which indicates what? The good internal consistency. In the same way, when we refer to the inter-rater reliability, we are trying to make more clear about the level of agreement between the different raters or the observers, how they evaluate the same response. This is very clear that this crucial qualitative research or assessment of where subjective judgment is involved, we generally look forward for the designing part of the questionnaire. We generally look forward for looking to the apprehensions and categories of the questionnaires. Now, generally, what happens is the best practices refers to generally the, sometimes we also come up with the face validity, which is subjective to judgmental on the operationalization of the construct. If you refer to the validity part, it is a degree to which a measured appears to be related to the specific constructs. Like in order to examine the face validity, the Dichotomous scale can be used with a categorical option like yes and no. Now, this is very clear and understood in terms of more clarity and more understanding parameters, that is looked in terms of discriminant validity, in terms of convergent validity, or looking forward for criterion validity, or looking forward for predictive validity, or looking forward for some more understood categories that defines and look forward for a very exhaustive situations. If you remember the employing of Losch's method in 1975 in terms of content validity ratio, CVR, which is calculated. This also gives a very replicative example that talks more on the n e minus n by 2 divided by n by 2, which represents the essential, and n represent the total number of panel members, right? Which is more clear-cative indicatives of how and to what way we can have a look of pilot test, or we can have a look of ethical considerations, or we can have a look of looking for the coincide activities that justify and look for belongingness of justifications. Now, then we have one more questions in our mind, that what type of questions to be used. This is also very clear, that generally we have come up with validity, we have come up with all these things. No, and then we said the type of questions here means we will go for open-ended questions, we can go for the closed-ended questions, we can go for metrics type of the questions, we can go for ranking types of the questions, we can go for the scaling types of the questions, right? These all things can be there. We can go for Goodman's. Now, the main scaling pattern also to be discussed here, and in the scaling pattern we have a Thurston scaling pattern, we have Goodman's scaling pattern, we have Likert scaling pattern, right? In the Thurston scaling pattern, this type is also known as equal appearing with the simple groups and arrange the respondents' answers. It means meaning hereby, in this situation, you are able to rank them based on different range of examples from 1 to 9 for the lesser to the highest income. This is something we say Thurston scaling. But even here, you can rank them with the when you add a factor such as income and aim to identify the category based on the priority of the income. But parallelly to the Goodman scaling, which is also called cumulative, as all of the alternative possess the same idea or inherent attributes. In this, the subsequent answers are stemming from the previous responses, meaning hereby that when you are agreed with one of the sequence, there is no questions about accepting the previous one, and then you drop it out. The third point of scaling is called Likert scaling. It is a summative scaling, which is a type of answering the options in the specific range from extremely positive to extremely negative. For example, the response option can be considered as fully agreed, somewhat agreed, neither agreed nor disagreed, somewhat disagreed, and fully disagreed. Now, these options can be arranged using either horizontal or vertical fashions in the questionnaire. Please remember one thing, which is very important. As per Acharya 2010, I'll quote, he very clearly says that horizontal type seems more reliable to the respondent when well-educated or self-administered questionnaires are conducted. I'll repeat, horizontal. And this is systematically justified. Now, after recognizing the type of scaling, other points which should be considered by the researchers are the ways of labeling the points and the number of points used in scales. The approach to label the options can be selected between one of any three options that can be given to us. One is called unipolar or bipolar scale, which are used in terms of numbers as an option. For example, we say very happy, happy, or not happy. Whereas unipolar scales use a range of numbers of examples, that is from 0 to 20. However, bipolar scales can be selected from scale of -5 to +5. Now, these all things gives more concern and more focus on that how, other than scaling, what are the types of responses we are talking about. And when I'm saying types of responses, it means I am looking for yes, no option. I am looking for single or multiple response or single or multiple questions. Am I looking for considering a neutral option? Am I looking for decay? Don't know. Option and filter questions. Now, these all types of responses, am I going for demographic base and filter questions? Or else, if I'm looking for all these things, the next thing which comes to my mind, that what are the points of wording the questions? How I'm going to word the questions? If I'm wording the questions, how relevant and how purposive I am going to clear with the wording the questions? What is my base structure? What is my base parameters? How I look to the parameters of wording the questions? The main type of questions and different response options relies on, number one, do not write long and burdensome question. Number one, then your purpose is not clear. Your purpose is very clear in terms of the clarity, smart, in terms of the smart approach, specific, measurable, accurate, reported, and time based. You should eliminate the ambiguity options, number two, in the questions. Number three, we need to define the questions very clearly. Number four, what comes to our mind is, do not use biased questions. What is biased questions here? Anyone? What is biased question?
Sir, which direct the answers of the respondent in your favor, or
Correct. For example, which is based on assumptions, right? Since it can mislead or push the participants toward the option. Then also we need to understand to avoid the technical words or jargons or slangs. Like, for example, if you look to certain categories, you will understand that why, onto what way we can learn and understand. Like, suppose I'm doing a research on branding and I want to make my hypothesis very clear that when I'm going for branding, should I go for synonymous branding or should I go for eponymous branding? How people should react the moment I say Coca-Cola, then the moment it comes Thanda matlab Coca-Cola. The moment I say Hathi ka jod, picture comes to our mind is Favicol. The moment I say 50-50, Britannia comes to our mind. It means we are trying to understand. The moment I say online searching, Google comes to our mind. So how I'm going to reflect certain questions out of this when I'm going to clear the items and when I'm going to ask this into the questionnaire. In the same way, when I say eponymous branding, like for example, Tata, no, eponymous means name after a particular person, like Ford, Henry Ford, like Tesla, Nikola Tesla, like Disney, Walt Disney, like Birla Putti, Billas, extended from Billas. Now, these things very clearly talks about certain options and representations, and these options and representations are actually the rules on house elimination confusion. We have a in business we have a strategy called poison pill, which is a defense strategy in business. And the poison pills talks about defensive strategy, which is normally being used by a company to prevent the hostile takeover. So what companies does, it makes the company less attractive or more expensive for an acquiring firm, and generally they discourage the unwanted takeover and attempts. Now, why I'm using this? In the same way, we need to understand the poison pill when we are looking forward for making a judgmental analysis in terms of how to look forward for the questionnaires, how to organize the questionnaire, how to prepare the introduction, how to optimize the order of questions. Because when we say optimization of order of questions, it means I'm talking in terms of what is to be considered, what are the general criterias, what are general informations, what are general scaling, systematic base, basic classifications, everything confirmed and coincide with the tactful analysis and consumption of the pattern that values. One more thing which is very important, that what are the properties of physical appearance of the questionnaire, because we came with the points of order of questions, we came with the general descriptions, but what is the properties of physical appearance? So when you talk of questionnaires happening, when you talk of looking to the conclusion part of questionnaire happening, you are clearing with the ideas, with the demographic setups of target audience, with a demographic setup of psychological psychographic audience, with a demographic setup of tailors made linguistic resonates, with the parameters as you can look forward for, right from open ended to the close ended to the Likert scale points, like what we write, what we conclude, what we extend, what we deserve, and what we approach to the ways of understanding, ways of clearing, and ways of looking forward for these concepts and these logics. And here, the very physical appearance of the questionnaire is more concerned to the relevancy of a well organized questionnaire together talks of these parts. And what are the parts of talking about? That they are more concerned with the underestimated factors in terms of how the quality of appearance of the questionnaire includes. And above all, the importance of the proceedings of the questionnaires are discussed. And what are the importance here? What can be the font of the content? Smaller font are difficult to use. What font you're going to look forward for? How font can be analyzed in the questionnaires? How you provide the instructions, where instructions are to be given, Like a survey
Sir,
cannot be in. Yeah. Hello. Yeah.
in description
Yeah.
or below the questions.
Obviously. So we need to understand it that a survey cannot complete by respondents unless the
Yes.
instructions are provided for the. So what we do is in every sections, because you have a different section, you need to justify, and before starting the section, you just mention the instructions. Like for example, these instructions are given based on the type of questions. What is the type of questions? Open-ended, multiple, single, and these points is important as can overshadow the respondent's response and cause error. One more thing which is very important is that what is the importance of pre-coding the answers. You are a researcher, how you code and pre-code it. So in coding processes, the numbers are assigned to the categories of responses in order to use them in analyzing the processing. Meaning hereby, if computers are utilized to gather data, it is vital to use pre-coded responses for the closed-ended questionnaires. Meaning hereby that this can be optional for mail survey. Mail survey I'm talking about, whether you have a Google, question-based survey. But the recommendations is that in data collection and generation of data files together, you must make a format more time consumingly in terms of, because in this situation it makes more easy tabulation easier, which adds the answers blanks at the same place at the same point. One more thing comes to your mind is that how we go for pre-test your questionnaire. So in pre-testing the questionnaire, it is very important and essential step and directly affects the quality of questionnaire. In this step, all researchers need to conduct the survey using a very small number of participants as a target sample. What I'm using the word is piloting here. And these numbers of participants can vary between 30 max to minimum of 15. And additionally, these participants in this step should be chosen similarly to the main target group in terms of backgrounds, their levels of education, what interest they are into, what attitude they are amounting to familiarize with the. So the main objective is to realize whether the participants are able or willingness to respond the questions or items or not. Do the questions measure what they aim to measure? Number one. Can the whole respondents or the filtered ones understand the item what you have written? Do you find any offensive questions used or offensive items are used into it? Can the participants provide all the information that you are required for? Now, these are all things that gives a very representative scale and productivity in terms of orientations. Last but not least, after going for the structure, after going for the logical review, after going for piloting, after going for sequencing, in terms of sample, in terms of gathering data, in terms of revise, how and to what extent we can measure and understand the implemented and the chosen collected part, and normally come up with a question when to finalize the questionnaire. Till now, any questions from anyone, please?
Sir, I have questions.
Yeah, please. Yeah, Renu, please go ahead.
Sir, I have actually a list of questions, so I can take up at the end also.
Okay, sure.
Because
No,
I'm
till
noting
now, if
the
you have any
questions.
questions, okay, no, sure. That I'll take.
Sir,
I'm just
that's what I'm saying. Now, I
I
have
yeah,
noted down each and every
right.
question
I'll
from the
Renu,
beginning.
Renu, I'm just within 5 minutes, I'm going to complete it, and then rest 15 minutes is open for the questions, right? Now, when
Yes,
to,
sir.
yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
when,
I'll ask the in the
yeah,
end.
when to finalize the questionnaire. Now, the process of fixing the questionnaire is something like we need to have several iterations and rewriting. Number one, the information obtained from the survey can address the information desired in terms of listing, like we say, based on hypothesis number one or based on research questions number one or two or three. We can also go for survey can cover the informations that likely to generate the addresses part of researchers in terms of hypothetical questions of testing hypothesis or to not. Another thing in terms of looking for the questionnaire and looking for filing the questionnaire is how and what are the basic steps we can look to analyze and interpret the data. What is the response rate and how to increase it? Because this is also certain things in the questionnaire, everything is made. Now, how to increase the response rate? And here, if you want to increase the response rate in terms of analyzing or interpreting of data, you need to understand certain things, like, for example, send notification before the real survey, send reminder, motivate respondents, identify the aim of the study and the sponsors, assume their confidentialities. Now, this all things is taken up, but there is some ethical issues are also important, which researchers should understand, because willingness of individuals is necessary for conducting survey and providing the primary data required for the research. What are the responsibilities of the participants? Include the name, number of broad fields, informations, what they're going to talk in term is very sensitive, the confidentiality level, the estimate length of survey, the cost is imposed, the interval is recorded. So, as a conclusive parameters, as a conclusive results, or as a conclusive orientations, what is more important to understand and to look forward for is that determine the target audience, choosing the right question times, write the clear and concise structure of questionnaire logically. Everything is clear, shown to us. And when we see the data representations, or when we look forward for data analysis and interpretation, now once the data is collected, it must be analyzed systematically to draw meaningful conclusions. And common techniques includes what? Number one, descriptive statistics. It is something like summarizing the data using measures such as mean, median, standard deviation to provide an overview of the responses when it is a descriptive one. Now, how about the inferential statistics? But when we go for the inferential statistics, we go for statistical tests to make generalization about larger population based on sample data. How about cross tabulation? When we look for the cross tabulation, we compare responses across different demographic groups to identify patterns and trend analysis. And ultimately, how about qualitative analysis? So in qualitative analysis, we go for open-ended responses, theoretical analysis to identify the common themes and sentiments what we are going to look forward for. So this is what is the look version is, and from my side now I'm open up with the questions, so anyone can come up with the questions.
Uh, s-
Yeah.
so I have questions.
Yeah, now we can take the questions one by one. Yeah, sure, please.
Yeah. The first one is, when we prepare the questionnaire and we talk about the like variables, is it necessary to take the variables from the literature, like we work on adapted and adopted? questionnaire. So is it necessary or we can take our own?
No. See, variables cannot be taken off your own. It should be, analyzed, scanned, and lensed only from what is your research question or what is your hypothesis.
Yes, sir. And that should be like supported by the literature.
Obviously, right? So,
Okay.
when you take any literature, you will find that suppose you are taking a variable, two variables you have taken, right? But when
Yes,
you
sir.
are going for a literature of Mr. A, B, and C, you'll find that they have your two variables will be included in that. But maybe two, three variables they have their own, which is not a part of your study.
Mhm.
So always
Yes,
remember
yes,
that
sir.
when you're making a variables, it should be extracted from the research questions or hypothesis what you're going to talk about or objectives that you're going to talk about. Right. Sometime when you lead from the
Yes, sir. And sir,
literature,
like
yeah.
how when
Sometime when you
yes,
lead
sir.
from review of literature, so sometime you take those variables because ultimately it is good till you have not written your synopsis. Once your synopsis are written and when everything is mentioned in black and white, right? And when after
Mhm.
turning off everything, when you're formulating your questionnaire, so at that particular time you have cut your hand, right? So always
Yes,
remember one thing that now this is not something that when you're writing a synopsis, this is after synopsis you're doing these all jobs. So you should be very
yes,
clear.
sir.
You should be very clear about that. Every indicators, every adoptions, and every inferences should be very clear, clarified, and contended in your synopsis words, in your literature words, right? So always remember that
Okay,
when
sir.
you go for going for extraction of references in terms of variables, whether it is a dependent variable or independent variable, it has to extract from your hypothesis from the data. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, sir. And sir, uh, what is the ideal number of the items one statement should have? Like 5 to 6, 8 to 10,
No,
every
no.
statement.
There is no such a ideal statement is there, Renu. Let us say if suppose I'm taking any example. If you take off that if I'm taking a hypothesis, and generally
Mm-hmm.
this has been seen that suppose I have a three hypothesis, right?
Yes,
And
sir.
out of these hypotheses, so generally people ask the question to the guide or to themselves that when I'm making a questionnaire, how many items should be there from a single hypothesis. Okay, so it depends on that what is your depth of attribute you are going to look forward for, what you are going to justify with the variables, because some
Okay.
variables there are some in referential variables are also there, hidden variables are also there. Also something
Okay.
you need to understand that let us take example of that. I want to conclude with the determinants of purchasing behavior of segment B vehicles, you know, and I want
Mm-hmm.
to read the cognitive aspirants of these people. So how I'm going to look and make information. So in this, I am more clear, I'm more concerned, and I'm more triggered to understand the basic flows. And this basic flows talks more on the sense of attributes that I'm looking forward for. Okay, and this sense, or else sometimes I say, what is I want to read the judgment of decoy effect of consumers, that why consumers prefer to not purchase 50 rupees cone, and when I keep the price to 90 rupees from 100 gram to 200 grams, so they should pay 100 rupees for 200 grams but they are paying only 90 rupees. So people prefer to switch over from 50 rupees and they're ready to spend 90 rupees to have, even though they are you know justifying their demand, right? So it is
Yes,
not
sir.
a proper answer to it. So it depends on, or sometimes you need to understand that your variation, your hypothesis, or your variables need to give a direct attribute to the ages, to the incomes. So
Yes, sir.
from this you need to come up with the items. So there is no as a specific answer for this, but yes, this is very clear that on an average, sometimes you might have seen that people says यार मेरा तो बहुत कम items हैं, इतने कम
हाँ
आइटम्स
हाँ
क्या होगा।
यस सर
और एक स्कॉलर कभी कभी किसी का क्वेश्चनर देखता है तो वो देखता है उसके पास 70 आइटम्स हैं और मेरे पास केवल 20 आइटम्स हैं। बट
हम्म
ये आपको डिपेंड करता है कि आपका जो वेरिएबल है, आपका जो इन्फ्लुएंसेस है, आपका जो हाइपोथेटिकल एक्सप्लॉयटेशंस हैं, वो किस लेवल तक और किस कदर तक आपके लिटरेचर ऑफ रिव्यू और आपके एक्सटेंशन ऑफ सर्वे को शो करता है।
ओके
इसमें आप इसमें आपको बिल्कुल भी घबराने की जरूरत नहीं है कि एक मेरे वो कहता है कि मेरी चद्दर मेरी शर्ट तुम्हारे शर्ट से सफेद कैसे, तो बिल्कुल घबराने की जरूरत नहीं कि उसके 50 आइटम्स हो गए और मेरे तो केवल 25 आइटम। ये डिपेंड करता है कि आपके जो लॉजिकल पैरामीटर्स हैं, क्या वो लॉजिकल पैरामीटर्स 15 to 20 आइटम्स में कंप्लीट होते हैं कि नहीं होते। बट जनरली जो रिसर्चर होते हैं वो हर एक वेरिएबल्स को फिर दूसरे दूसरे कंटेंट के साथ निकाल के अपने रिसर्च को जस्टिफाई करता है। ठीक है,
ओके सर
जैसे
ठीक है
कि ये इनकम ग्रुप के साथ मेरा हो गया, ये एज ग्रुप के साथ मेरा हो गया, ये ट्रांसजेंडर्स हैं इनके साथ मेरा हो गया। ठीक, कभी कभी आपका रिसर्च जो है वो एक ऐसी चीज बताता है जो पब्लिक डोमेन में उस चीज का जस्टिफिकेशन नहीं है किसी के पास, और आपके वो जो आपने जो वो गैप निकाला है, आपने जो रिसर्च गैप निकाला, उस रिसर्च गैप से जो जो एक स्लिपरी वेरिएशन हो रहा है रिसर्च के अंदर, वो मॉडलिटी क्रिएट कर रही है। ठीक,
Okay, sir. One more thing, sir. Pilot testing is mandatory for a questionnaire.
यस यस
Is it mandatory also to
यस
check
यस
your question? No, sir. I have
यस
some question
या
related.
हाँ हाँ
Is it also necessary to get your questionnaire verified with the experts of that related field?
see there is a word called Delphi technique.
Yes, sir.
DELPH, Delphi
Yes.
technique. Why it is done so? Because once it is always be good to go for second layer option, right?
Okay.
Uh, See, you go to a doctor if you're not feeling well, you go to a
Mhm.
बट सपोज आपको कोई ये कहता है यार कि मैं 1 महीने से दवाई ले रहा हूं मैं और मेरे को लगता है दवाई सूट नहीं करी, फिर आप क्या करते हो?
Yes.
आप क्या करते हो फिर? डॉक्टर चेंज करते हो, सेकंड ओपिनियन
Yes,
लेते
sir.
हो आप, है ना?
हाँ,
तो
बिल्कुल.
वैसे ही आपके तारीख में आज के मेडिकल की लैंग्वेज में हम कहते हैं कि ऑलवेज गो फॉर द सेकंड ओपिनियन इफ इट इज नॉट डिटोरिएटिंग योर हेल्थ। इन द सेम वे, in research, it is always said that go for the second opinion of the experts. And what is the second opinion? First opinion is me and my guide, and
Yes, sir.
second opinion is the expert, right? So always go for the Delphi technique, and generally
Okay.
it's seen that these gaps are being identified by the Delphi people. I'll give example here. See,
Okay.
मैं आपको अपना
Sir,
personal
I have
हाँ या
नो सर आपके
हाँ
मतलब मेरे एंड पे शायद नेटवर्क इशू होगा, आपकी वॉइस ब्रेक हो
हाँ
गई
मैं
थी.
आपको एग्जांपल बता रहा हूँ मैं रेनू कि
यस
मेरा
सर.
एक स्कॉलर है, वो चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट है। तो वो एक उसने सेट ऑफ क्वेश्चनर बनाया, उसके सेट ऑफ क्वेश्चनर्स में से केवल 19 क्वेश्चंस जो फ्रेम कर रहे थे आइटम्स,
ओके.
ओनली
हाँ
19
हाँ.
आइटम्स। और हमने इंस्टीट्यूशनल ग्रुप पकड़ा था, हमने इंडिविजुअल नहीं पकड़ा था, हमने इंस्टीट्यूशंस के सीएफओ को पकड़ा था।
ओके सर.
ठीक है? तो हमने जो इंस्टीट्यूशंस लिए थे, फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशंस, हमने लिए थे 140
ठीक है सर.
सैंपल के हिसाब से।
हम्म.
हमारा जो एरिया है यहाँ का, सिडकुल का वो जो एरिया था उसके हिसाब से हमारे पास जो टोटल इंस्टीट्यूशंस थे इस एरिया में वो करीब 350 थे, तो हमने 140 का सैंपल ले लिया। अब मजे की बात ये थी कि उस हमने जब पायलटिंग किया तो पायलटिंग में हमने 3 एक्सपर्ट्स के पास उसको भेजे।
यस सर.
हमारे पास वो 23 आइटम्स थे, 23 आइटम्स से वो 3 एक्सपर्ट ने उसको 18 आइटम्स में ले आए वो।
ओके.
ठीक है,
यस
18
सर.
आइटम के बाद फिर मैं और मेरा स्कॉलर हम दोनों बैठे, हमने कहा साहब ये एक आइटम जो है ये हम मिसफीड कर रहे हैं, इस आइटम को होना चाहिए। और ये एक्सपर्ट ने उसको इसको डिलीट कर दिया। क्यों एक्सपर्ट ने उसको फिल्टर कर दिया? क्योंकि
ओके.
उस आइटम के ना होने से हमारे 2 वेरिएबल्स पे फर्क पड़ रहा था।
ओके सर.
हमने एक्सपर्ट को वापस रिविजिट किया, हमने एक्सपर्ट को बताया कि साहब ये चीजें हैं और इस चीजों में अगर हम इसको डिलीट करते हैं तो इससे हमारा जो इन्फ्रेल है वो फर्क पड़ रहा है।
Okay, sir.
एक्सपर्ट ने उसको देखा और उन्होंने कहा नहीं साहब, हमारा जो सिचुएशन है, देखो एक्सपर्ट का मतलब क्या होता है, एक्सपर्ट का मतलब वो अपने फील्ड में एक्सपर्ट है वो।
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
कभी कभी क्या होता है, आपके फील्ड और जो हम कर रहे हैं, वो आप एक्सपर्ट हो उस फील्ड में, लेकिन जो हम कर रहे हैं उसका 90% फील्ड आपका है, 10% वाला फील्ड आपका नहीं है।
Yes, sir.
कभी कभी एक्सपर्ट भी जो है अपने ओपिनियन को डिसओन कर देते हैं। मैं ये नहीं कह रहा कि इंटेंशनली कर रहा हूँ,
Yes, sir.
कभी कभी क्या होता है कि वो अपने ऑरा में रहते हैं, अपने होराइजन में रहते हैं, और उसकी वजह से मैं उनके एक्सपर्टीज पे क्वेश्चन मार्क नहीं डाल रहा मैं।
हाँ, मैं
कभी
समझ रही
कभी क्या होता है कि कभी कभी माइनर से माइनर चीज एक्सपर्ट्स जो है वो इसलिए उसको स्लिप ऑफ कर देता है क्योंकि उसको लगता है कि ये चीजें इस लेवल के लिए नहीं है।
हूँ। Yes, sir.
आप
समझ।
समझ गए? तो
हाँ,
इसलिए
समझ।
हमेशा आप याद रखो कि आप एक्सपर्ट के पास हमेशा जाओ, और
Yes,
जाने
sir.
के बाद आप उस एक्सपर्ट के ओपिनियन को आप थॉरो रिव्यू भी करो आप फिर से। और हमने रिव्यू करने के बाद हमने देखा कि वो उस एक चीज के नहीं रहने से हमारे पूरी चीजें मैटर डिरेल हो रही थी। हम फिर एक्सपर्ट के पास गए और फिर उन्होंने कहा कि नहीं साहब इसको आप रखो, तो 18 से फिर 19 आइटम हो गया। तो ये मैं आपको अभी रिसेंटली एग्जांपल बता रहा हूँ, मैं
Okay,
आपको
sir.
ऐसा हुआ है ये। तो इसलिए
Yeah.
हम कभी कभी ये नहीं कहते,
Okay,
हम ये नहीं कहते कि आप ये मत कुछ सोचो कि भाई हम मेरे गाइड ने सब कह दिया है तो वो गलत है। नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है, गाइड अपनी जगह बिल्कुल सही है, लेकिन कभी कभी क्या होता है, गाइड का जो डोमेन होता है और जो एक्सपर्ट का जो डोमेन होता है, उन दोनों में जमीन आसमान का फर्क होता है। कभी कभी एक्सपर्ट का जो डोमेन होता है वो प्रैक्टिकल डोमेन होता है,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
ठीक है ना। और कभी कभी वो
Yeah.
प्रैक्टिकल डोमेन में थ्योरेटिकल का जो सीक्वेंसिंग है वो एक गैप बन जाता है। तो इसलिए
Yes, sir.
आप ये मान के चलो कि हम दोनों रेल की पटरी हैं, ठीक है। हाँ,
Yes, sir.
जब तक एक्सपर्ट ने ओके कह दिया, एक्सपर्ट के ओके कहने के बाद आप उस चीज को फिजिबिलिटी, उसकी वैलिडिटी और उसको बिल्कुल आपको रिलेबिलिटी चेक करनी चाहिए।
Okay,
और
sir.
99.99% एक्सपर्ट्स आर ऑलवेज राइट। मैं पॉइंट
Yes,
जीरो
sir.
जीरो जीरो परसेंट इसलिए कह रहा हूँ कि कभी कभी उसमें, अब जैसे मेरे अपने 28 साल के करियर में पहली बार ऐसा हुआ है कि हमने एक्सपर्ट को रिक्वेस्ट किया कि साहब ये चीजें छूट रही हैं, इस वजह से ये हमारा एक डायमेंशन बिगड़ जाएगा। आप
Mm-hmm.
समझ गए ना। तो वो भी दे आर आल्सो मेड ऑफ
Yes, sir.
फ्लैश एंड बोन्स। तो वो भी और हम भी
Yes, sir.
भाई, वी आर टीचर्स, समटाइम वी कैन नॉट बी ऑलवेज राइट। कभी कभी हमारे स्टूडेंट्स मेरे को कहते हैं कि साहब ये जो आपने निकाला है, ये जो आपने रेफरेंस किया है वो गलत है ना। तो एक्सपर्ट का मतलब ये
Mm-hmm.
नहीं कि यू आर ऑलवेज बी राइट। आपने देखा होगा केबीसी में कभी कभी जो एक्सपर्ट के ओपिनियन भी गलत हो जाता
Yes, sir.
है ना। नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन प्लीज।
Yes.
यस।
Sir, next is like sometimes it happens that we are dealing with the respondent which are at higher level, and
हाँ,
at that time we have very less number of respondents. तो सर उसको कैसे जस्टिफाई करें?
हायर लेवल का मतलब कि आपके पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से हायर लेवल का मतलब कि आप उनको डील नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, या आपके
Yes.
आईक्यू के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से कह रहे हो कि हायर लेवल है,
नहीं
या
नहीं सर,
आप व्हाइट
जैसे
कॉलर, क्या
सर
पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू है?
नहीं जैसे मेरा रिसर्च टॉपिक है वो पॉलिसी से रिलेटेड है,
तो
तो
आपने व्हाइट
उसमें
कॉलर्स को पकड़ लिया आपने।
हाँ सर।
हाँ, तो आपको कह रहे हो कि आप उनको कैसे डील करें।
हाँ सर।
तो उनको डील करने का आपको क्या मतलब, आप तो उनके पास जाओगे। देखो, हमेशा याद रखना बेटा कि मैंने आपको इसलिए अपना अपना वो एग्जांपल बताया साउथ
हाँ
अफ्रीका
सर।
का।
हाँ हाँ।
आपको हमेशा याद रखना है कि आप क्वेश्चनर एक ऐसी चीज है, वो डिपेंड, ये वो एक पेपर वर्क है, वो डिपेंड करता है कि आपका मूड क्या है।
हम्म।
अगर मेरा मूड बहुत खराब है, अगर मैं अपने बॉस से लड़के आया हूँ मैं, और आप मेरे सामने बैठे हो, अब ये तो मैं बोलूंगा नहीं कि मैं अपने बॉस से लड़के आया हूँ मैं, लेकिन आप ये मान के चलो कि उसका रेप्रिकेशन आपके क्वेश्चनर पे पड़ेगा।
बिल्कुल सर, बिल्कुल।
मैं अपने वाइफ से लड़के आया हूँ मैं, और आपने मेरे को क्वेश्चनर दिया, और आप मुझे फोन कर रहे हो, तो मान के चलो उसका रेप्रिकेशन उसमें पड़ेगा।
यस
तो
सर।
अब ये आपका, ये इसलिए कहते हैं रिसर्च का ये अपना प्रोग्रेटिव है कि वो कब क्या किस वे पे उसको डील करता है।
ओके
और
सर।
इसका मैं एग्जांपल बस यही बताता हूँ बच्चे, कि आप जब छोटे रहे होगे तो आपने एमबीए और वो सब तो नहीं किया था। आप
हम्म।
फोर्थ फिफ्थ में थे, आपको पैसे की जरूरत पड़ती थी, तो आप कैसे मांगते थे पैसा, या आपके रिपोर्ट कार्ड में मार्क्स कम आते थे रिपोर्ट शीट्स में, तो आप कैसे अपने पेरेंट्स से साइन करवाते थे, है ना। तो
हाँ।
वो सेम पैटर्न आपको यहाँ पे भी अप्लाई करना पड़ेगा।
ओके सर।
और कभी भी स्पेशली आप याद रखो, जब भी आज के तारीख में हम कहते हैं कि आज के तारीख में जो सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट बात यह है कि आप जिस आदमी से मिलने जा रहे हो, आप ये मत सोचो कि वो आदमी आपके बारे में नहीं जानता। हो सकता है वो आदमी आपके बारे में आपसे ज्यादा जानता है।
हम्म।
तो इसलिए कभी भी आप व्हाइट कलर को जब आप अप्रोच करो, तो हमेशा उसकी बैकग्राउंड को लेके अप्रोच किया करो।
ओके सर।
और बैकग्राउंड का मतलब ये हुआ कि जैसे मान लो किसी प्रोफेसर के पास जा रहे हो, तो आप
हम्म।
हमेशा उस प्रोफेसर के बैकग्राउंड के साथ उसका डूज क्या है, उसका डोंट डूज क्या है, उसका
हम्म।
उसका एरिया ऑफ एरिया क्या है, और हमेशा आप जब क्वेश्चंस पूछो तो क्वेश्चन हमेशा आप उसके स्टार्ट से पूछो और उसके इंटरेस्ट ऑफ एरिया से पूछो,
ओके
और
सर।
इंटरेस्ट उसको हमेशा इंटरेस्ट ऑफ एरिया में लाने की कोशिश करो, उसके इंटरेस्ट ऑफ एरिया, उसके बाद आप अपने क्वेश्चन की बात करो।
ठीक है सर।
आप पहले ही अगर आपने डेजर्ट परोस दिया तो
हम्म।
खाना किसी को भी अच्छा नहीं लगेगा।
समझ गई सर।
इसकी एक सीक्वेंस होती है, तो इसलिए व्हाइट कॉलर पीपल को डील करने के लिए, पॉलिसी मेकर्स को डील करने के लिए, अब आप आईएएस के पास जा रहे हो तो आपके ये इंश्योर करना है कि आपका ड्रेसिंग सेंस क्या है, आपको क्या बोलना है, और ये आपको इंश्योर करना है कि आपको 1 मिनट में 1.5 मिनट में अपनी पूरी बातें बोलनी है। तो इसका मतलब आप वहाँ पे मैन ऑफ द वर्ड्स हो गए।
यस सर।
ठीक है, तो आपके जो कंटेंट है वो डिपेंड करता है आपके डिलीवरी पे, और आपका डिलीवरी है वो डिपेंड करता है फीडबैक पे, और आपका उसका जो फीडबैक वो डिपेंड करता है आपकी एक्सटेंसिव एनालॉजी के ऊपर।
सर लास्ट क्वेश्चन।
यस यस यस।
So, one thing is ki, is the use of AI justified while doing the brainstorming of questionnaire? And is there any book which we can go with to study about in detail?
देखो एआई के ऊपर ना कुछ बुक्स तो हैं। आजकल मैं एक जैन की बुक पढ़ रहा हूँ, मैं आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस के ऊपर एक किताब है, जैन की किताब है वो।
तो वो
हाँ,
क्वेश्चनर के ऊपर है, एआई इन क्वेश्चनर।
मैं तुम आपको बताता हूँ, मैं एआई एन क्वेश्चनर कह रहे हो?
सर मैं हाँ क्वेश्चन पे कैसे मतलब उसको, एक तो क्वेश्चनर की बुक्स है जिसमें सारी चीजें हो, स्ट्रक्चर्ड अनस्ट्रक्चर्ड अडॉप्टेड सारे मतलब डिटेल्ड आइटम्स एंड ऑल, कैसे
हाँ
फाइनेंस से रिलेटेड कुछ बुक है, क्योंकि सर मेरे को मार्केटिंग से रिलेटेड तो मिली जिसमें स्केल्स डिफाइन है सारी चीजें, बट फाइनेंस से रिलेटेड मुझे नहीं मिली कोई भी बुक।
नहीं, आप ना क्वेश्चनर पे एक बुक है, आप उसको ले सकते हो, बहुत ही अच्छी किताब है। वो हाउ टू प्रिपेयर अ क्वेश्चनर, और वो किताब इसकी रुद्रा रुद्रा की
रुद्र।
है एक, हाँ रुद्रा की एक किताब है, एक रुद्रा की हाउ टू मेक अ क्वेश्चनर। और
ओके।
एक और है जस्टिफाइंग क्वेश्चनर बाई इमोन इमोन इमोन, इसका नाम है इमोन एंड शिफमैन, इमोन एंड शिफमैन, हाँ इमोन एंड शिफमैन की बुक है। ठीक है ना, ये आप
यस।
इस पे आप देख सकते हो। और
और सर जो आप एआई की बुक बता रहे थे वो स्पेसिफिकली एआई को कैसे यूज करना है उस पे है?
हाँ हाँ, बुक ऑन एआई फॉर
ओके।
रिसर्च।
बुक
ठीक
ऑन
है,
एआई। ठीक है
हाँ,
सर।
तो उस पे आप उस पे वो कर सकते हो। उस पे जो कई वो चीज़ें हैं, तो उसमें जो मोटा मोटा जो उसमें ना एक जैन की किताब है,
ओके
बहुत
सर।
अच्छी किताब है वो, है ना।
यस सर। यस
फर्स्ट
सर।
फर्स्ट नेम मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा।
सर मैं
अ,
सर्च करती हूँ ऑनलाइन।
हाँ, उस पे आप देख सकते हो। ठीक है ना, तो
ठीक है
उस पे आप यू कैन लुक ऑन इट। फिर एक मैं उसकी देखो, एक मैं आपको बता दूंगा, मैं एक किताब है आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस मॉडर्न अप्रोच, ये
मॉडर्न।
स्टॉट की किताब है, स्टॉट एंड रसल की।
ओके सर।
स्टॉट एंड रसल,
टॉट एंड रसल।
स्टॉट STROUT, स्टॉट एंड रसल,
यस सर।
उसकी किताब है। और एक और बुक है, बहुत अच्छी किताब है, आप इस पे पढ़ सकते हो, डीप लर्निंग पे,
ओके सर।
वो गुड फेलो की किताब है, गुड फेलो।
ओके सर।
और जो आपने फाइनेंस की बात की है ना,
हाँ हाँ
वो
सर।
फाइनेंस की बात में एक बुक है, उसका नाम है AI फॉर साइंटिफिक डिस्कवरी।
ओके सर।
वो जॉना हॉस्टिंग की बुक है, जॉना हॉस्टिंग, उसकी किताब है, आप इसको देख सकते हो आप,
ठीक है सर।
है ना। तो ये कुछ बुक्स हैं जो आप इसको बाकी एक मैं आपको रिकमेंड करूंगा, बहुत इस पे कुछ मूवीज भी हैं
ओके
जो
सर।
आप लोगों को एज ए स्कॉलर्स आपको देखनी चाहिए, बहुत अच्छी पिक्चर्स हैं। एक मूवी है फ्रैंकलिन टेम्पल्टन, सॉरी फ्रैंकस्टीन 96,
फ्रैंकस्टीन 96।
फ्रैंकस्टीन 96 आप देखना, AI बेस्ड है वो, रिसर्च बेस्ड पे वो मूवी है।
ठीक है सर।
जो आपको काफ़ी क्लैरिटी और काफ़ी अच्छी वो कहेगी। और एक और बहुत अच्छी किताब बुक वो है, मूवी है, जो आप उस पे देख सकते हो, AI के ऊपर है, काफ़ी अच्छी है, और रिसर्च रिसर्च बेस्ड है वो बुक, वो है ना, कि हाउ हाउ थिंग्स कैन लुक एंड सी द situations from the angle of research. उसको
sir.
वो उसको है द टीचिंग लॉन्च, एक
The
मूवी है,
teaching, the
द
teaching.
द टीचिंग लॉन्च, बहुत अच्छी पिक्चर है, आप इसको देखो तो आपको लगेगा
Okay,
कि
sir.
ये, हाँ। और
Okay,
एक और बुक है उसकी, ह्यूमरस है और काफ़ी अच्छी है, आप उसको मतलब बहुत अच्छा देख, रिसर्च के ऊपर है। अपोलो
Okay,
13, आप मूवी देखना, अपोलो 13 अनसक्सेसफुल मिशन फॉल,
ठीक है
ये
sir.
है ना। सो दिस इज व्हाट इज फ्रॉम माय साइड, ठीक है।
Thank you so
एनी
much.
मोर क्वेश्चंस? ओके, सो ओवर टू सिन्हा साहब।
थैंक यू सर,
सर,
आपने तो
Good evening.
पूरी डिटेल्ड सिस्टम को वेरी सिस्टमैटिक हाउ टू प्रिपेयर रिसर्च पर आपने बहुत अच्छी तरह से सिस्टमैटिक एंड वेरी इफेक्टिव सिस्टम से आपने बताया स्कॉलर को। अब स्कॉलर ही खुद बताएंगे कि कितना वो लर्न कर पाए, बट इंटरेक्टिव सेशन था, आपने काफी इंटरेक्शन किया, और खासकर रेणु यादव सर
Ninish,
को,
yes,
हाँ,
she was very good to,
शी इज माय रिसर्च स्कॉलर
अरे कमाल है, कमाल है, गुड।
and he is the regular assistant professor in Syama Prasad Mukherjee University of Delhi.
अरे वाह, बहुत बढ़िया, बहुत बढ़िया।
So is the very
Thank you.
nice. And
Nice.
once again, I request Renu to vote of thanks.
Sir, it's my privilege to give you a heartful vote of thanks. And first of all, sir, I want to thank SK Sinha sir, because of this platform only I was able to have a like detailed description, analysis, and answers to my question from VK Singh sir. Sir, thank you so much for briefing all the things in such a easy language. So here I am. It is my privilege to extend a heartfelt vote of thanks to Professor VK Singh sir for delivering an insightful and enriching lecture. How to prepare a questionnaire, its usage types, designing, structure, flow, everything. So your expertise and detailed explanation have provided us with a comprehensive understanding of the key principles behind designing an effective questionnaire. Your discussion on the importance of structure, logical flow, relevance of different types of question has undoubtedly enhanced our knowledge and will significantly contribute to our research endeavors. Your session has not only deepened our conceptual understanding, but has also given us practical insights that will help us in conducting surveys and gathering reliable data. We truly appreciate the time and effort you have invested in sharing your knowledge with us. Once again, on behalf of everyone present here, I extend our sincere gratitude to you, sir, for your valuable guidance. We look forward to more such enlightening sessions in the future. Thank you so much,
Thank
sir.
you, Renu. Thank you, Sinha साहब. Thank you, everyone. God bless you all. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.